Hey everyone, okay, ooh, they're pink. Okay, so I thought I would do a nice little video here of 8 products that really, or 8 techniques products that really change the way I view makeup. So let's just jump straight in. First one is NARS Radiant Cream Concealer. I bought this product probably nearly a decade ago, and it is still one of the best concealers on the market. It is wonderful for all skin types. It is incredible, and it was also one of the first concealers at the time that gave you more product than 2 mils. So, I mean, now we've got concealers with 15 and 20 mils in them, which is wonderful. But this one actually contains 6 mils, which was a big deal at the time. It's also one of those concealers that's flexible, that moves with the under eye area. And it's just an all-round great concealer with a really, really big shade range, which is wonderful. So, MERCIER translucent powder or RCMA no color powder. Setting your makeup with a powder puff and a loose powder is the way to do it. It is professional, it works every time, and it will give you a better finish than a brush alone. I have been setting makeup like this ever since you've seen me on YouTube. You've seen all the videos with me pressing and rolling into the skin everywhere. Then you get a nice big powder brush, which is really what they were designed for, and then you knock off all that excess powder. Using a puff and a loose powder is amazing. Now, if your budget allows for it, the MERCIER one is wonderful. RCMA is absolutely just as good, and you get 3 times the amount of product in there. Also, you can use these powders in so many different ways. You can dip an eyeshadow brush into the loose powder, go over your eyeshadow if it's too shimmery to dampen it down. You can buff edges in. You can do the buffing technique, which we'll speak about shortly. It is incredible. Loose powder and a puff is the way to go. NARS ORGASM is one of the most beautiful blushes ever created. Now, whether or not it would have received such acclaim if it didn't have such a bizarre name, who knows? But it is a beautiful, beautiful blusher that you can pretty much use this blusher with almost any look that you're doing, and it will look beautiful. The only issue with this blusher is that it's not universally flattering. So this blusher works great if you're very pale, probably up to Mediterranean skin tones. Then it becomes a highlighter on deeper skin tones, and on deeper skin tones again, it becomes unusable. NARS need to come out with a version 2 of NARS ORGASM. NARS ORGASM Deep. There you go. You're welcome, NARS. So that you get the flatteringness of this color, but on a deeper skin tone. But it is a beautiful, beautiful blusher. Primer. I hated primer for so long. Now I understand the purpose of it. I was never a fan of it, didn't like it on the face, didn't agree with it, but I changed my mind a few years ago, and now I really enjoy primer used strategically on the face where it's needed. For me, primer works best when you're going to be using minimal foundation. If you're going to use a bugger load of it, it's not my favorite thing to do. I would skip it. But if you're using a minimal amount, it works incredibly well on the skin. And the MERCIER one, she was the first to bring one out, and she's got a whole story behind it, and I read the entire article on this, and it is a really good read. Okay, a little bit of self-patting. Goss brushes. Now these are my brushes. They're designed by me. The shapes are by me, and they are manufactured and made in Japan. 22 people it takes to make a single brush, and they're incredible. And I first got a Japanese brush about 11 or 12 years ago now, and I was obsessed with them because they are the softest things you'd ever find. They don't cut the hair. It is a complete marvel at how they are made, and I decided to create my own, and I did. And what I love best about my brushes, if you look at them in like an eyeshadow, if you look at the eyeshadow ones, because they're so soft, they don't move the skin the same way other brushes do. So you can go into the crease under the eye without moving the skin, which is very apparent as we get older. And I created different shapes. So we've got, this is the number 2, which is incredible. You can go underneath the cheekbone, and when you move it, it becomes a bigger brush, so you can use it for blusher and bronzer. Then I create limited edition holiday brushes, which are, I have them in all these different shapes, and these can cut into the hairline to lower the hairline. They can produce really fine work going down the nose. You can even use this one to use foundation with. So they're what I'm most proud of what I've done so far. And then we've got the buffing technique. Now the buffing technique is where you take a brush and a press or loose powder, and after you've done everything, your whole makeup, everything's done, you take the product and you buff it into the skin. If you type in Wayne Goss buffing technique, you'll find the entire videos on how to do it. And you buff it into the skin. This smooths every single edge and it adds an extra layer of longevity. And when you see it in real life, it is poreless and flawless. It is absolutely bulletproof. You will have powder on your face. If you don't enjoy the look and feel of powder on your face, it's not your ideal situation, but it works, and it works so good. And you, depending on your age and how you prefer to look underneath the eyes, you can buff underneath the eyes as well. The under eye area is problematic because if we don't put anything there, we're having to constantly retouch it. If we do, we've powdered it, we can't do anything more other than powder it again. And powder can get into lines and creases, but it will always photograph more beautifully than a non-powdered face. But the buffing technique is incredible. And finally, the triangular sponge. You can get them for next to nothing. These are the best thing I love these, right? So I can use them to apply powder right underneath the lash line, the sandbag. Done a video on that if you want to Google it. Right the way up to the lash line. I can dip this into a concealer or a eyeshadow or a foundation, knock it off. I can blend the edges of eyeshadow so that they blend into the skin. I can go underneath the lip to powder or clean up if I've made a mistake, which is often. It is the best thing. I prefer this than a beauty blender any day of the week, although I have a lot of beauty blenders. Have a look at this. I actually use this just as an ornament now because I just love it so much. Just think it's so cool. Beauty blender is an incredible thing, but the triangular sponge, wash them, reuse them. It's absolutely fine, especially if they're yours, but you can get these really cheap and they can do so much. And that is my 8 favoritist things ever. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll see you all next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.